I was standing there in the middle of the living room, still holding the wine glass I hadn't even touched. Her entire family was watching me like I was some kind of circus freak. Her dad, Richard, walked up, reeking of whiskey and self-righteousness, and then it happened. Slap. Right across the face. Loud enough to silence the entire room. Loser, he barked, his finger inches from my nose. It's your responsibility that your wife cheated on you. You need to please her better. You're her biggest mistake. Laughter erupted. Her uncles, cousins, even her snide little sister Ashley. Everyone joined in like I was the punchline to a joke they had all memorized. And she, Madison, my wife of 4 years, just stood there, smirking like she was proud of this circus. I didn't say a word. I didn't have to. I pulled the small flash drive from my pocket like a priest unveiling a crucifix. Walked to the giant TV her father was so proud of. Slid it into the port. No one even noticed at first. Until the screen went black, then loaded. Boom. There he was. Tyler. The guy I always suspected but never confronted. Shirtless, smug, holding a camera phone. And there was Madison, on all fours, barking like a damn animal, begging him to go harder, saying things I can't repeat without burning my own soul. The room froze. Jaws dropped. The laughter turned into stunned silence, like a bomb had just detonated. Her father looked like he'd seen a ghost. But it wasn't just the act. It was what came next that sent shockwaves through the room. In the corner of the video, the motel mirror reflected a third person. Ashley, her little sister, filming them, laughing, whispering to Madison, "Say it again, call him your stupid husband." Gasps. Her mother clutched her chest. Her father muttered, "What the hell is this?" Madison. She screamed and lunged toward the TV, trying to rip out the flash drive, but I was already backing away. "You want to embarrass me in front of everyone?" I said calmly. "Welcome to your own stage." And then I walked out. No more words. No more scenes. That night, I turned off my phone. Left it to drown in vibration hell. 87 missed calls. Texts poured in like floodwater. "You're ruining everything. You were never supposed to see that. Please call me. You're making this worse than it is. We didn't mean for it to happen. It was just physical. Come home. We need to talk. You're being dramatic." Dramatic? I gave this woman everything. My time, my loyalty, my damn blood if she needed it. And she paid me back by getting drilled in a roadside motel while barking like a trained mutt and planning the theft of my business? Because that was the real kicker. I overheard enough from that video to know this wasn't just betrayal. It was conspiracy. They were plotting. Madison and Tyler. Using Ashley as a damn camerawoman. Talking about forging documents. Transferring shares. "Once we have the business, he's nothing," she said. Smiling. That wasn't just cheating. That was war. So I vanished. No goodbye. No destination. Just one thought. She chose the wrong man to betray. And revenge? Yeah, it was already in motion. I didn't go home that night. I didn't even take my car. I walked for almost 2 hours, aimless, eyes burning from rage and humiliation. The streetlights were blurry halos, and every time I blinked, I saw her face, Madison, laughing, barking, moaning while that scumbag Tyler whispered trash in her ear. That wasn't the worst part. The worst part was, I believed she loved me. I believed in us. I checked into a cheap roadside motel using cash, barely looked the clerk in the eye. I laid down on the hard mattress, but sleep wasn't coming. My mind was racing like it was wired to a car battery. Her voice from the video echoed in my skull. "He's such a sucker. He'll sign anything if I ask nicely. Once the business is in my name, we ghost him." My heart clenched. Madison wasn't just cheating. She was stealing my life. The next morning, I got to work. I made 3 calls. One to Jared, my best friend and lawyer. One to Cam, my former college roommate who now worked cybersecurity. And one to Noah, a private investigator with connections that made things happen fast, real fast. None of them asked questions. Just the tone in my voice was enough. By noon, I was sitting in Jared's office with bloodshot eyes, sipping black coffee, and going through documents Madison had no idea I had copies of. "She's not just trying to take the company," Jared muttered, flipping through pages. "She's using your marriage to shift liabilities and rewrite ownership. This is calculated, premeditated." I just nodded. I couldn't speak. My throat felt like it was welded shut with fury. "Let's freeze everything," Jared said. "Accounts. Access. We're locking this down." "Done." While he was making calls, I checked my phone. 92 missed calls now. Messages from her. Her mom. Even Tyler, who had the audacity to text me. Don't make this worse. We're not bad people. This just happened. I laughed. Out loud. In Jared's office. This just happened? Nah. You don't accidentally plan identity theft and corporate fraud while hooking up in motels like you're in some budget porn flick. Then Cam sent me an email with a file attached, surveillance from the motel. Cameras in the parking lot. One caught Madison and Tyler walking in, kissing, laughing, carrying a bag. A black laptop bag. Another video showed Ashley dropping something off a few minutes later. Likely more papers. And then came the bombshell. Cam messaged, "You're gonna want to see this next part." Hidden camera from the room. Someone planted it before them. Guess they're not the only cheaters who rent that room. There they were again. Tyler and Madison. Talking. Plotting. "You'll take his company," Tyler said. "And we'll take his cash. Then disappear. What if he finds out? Then we ruin him first." I watched her smile. That smug, heartless smile. Like I was just some roadkill she was swerving around. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. But something inside me snapped. That was the exact moment I stopped being the victim. I was done grieving. Done asking why. Now, it was about justice. About setting a trap. Noah texted next. "Want me to tail her? I already pulled motel records. She's got a recurring booking next Tuesday." Bingo. That was going to be my night. Not for a confrontation. Not for shouting matches or messy scenes. I was done with emotions. This was going to be surgical. I'd give her what she gave me. Humiliation. Shock. Collapse. And I'd do it with the same kind of cold precision she tried to use against me. I stared at the motel video one more time. She had no idea she was being recorded. No idea what was coming. And that was the beauty of it. She thought she was in control. She had no idea who she was playing with. Next Tuesday, she'd find out. The days leading up to Tuesday felt like an eternity. I wasn't sleeping much, but I wasn't tired either. Something kept me wide awake. Maybe adrenaline, maybe rage. My appetite was gone. My emotions, too. I had entered this strange zone of cold, calculated focus. It wasn't about love or heartbreak anymore. It was war. Noah had her routine nailed down. Madison had been visiting the same sleazy motel every Tuesday for weeks. Room 206. Checked in around 7 p.m., left around 10. Always with Tyler. Sometimes Ashley dropped off papers or envelopes. One time, even a small briefcase. I didn't want to know what was inside. But I had a plan. One that would burn them from the inside out. Jared had helped me file a temporary freeze on all business transfers and financial activity. We made it look like routine auditing. Madison didn't even realize the walls were already closing in. Her plan to get everything signed under her name was now just a piece of paper sitting in limbo. Meanwhile, I worked with Cam and Noah to prep the next scene. This time, I would be the director. First step, I needed bait. Something to get them both to the motel without suspicion. So, I used what she always responded to: money. From a dummy email, I wrote to Madison pretending to be an anonymous contact from one of my investors. I said I had access to private shares that were about to be liquidated, and whoever owned the company when it happened would get a massive payout. A one-time offer, but it had to be handled quietly. No paper trail. We'd meet at her usual spot. I knew she'd bite. And sure enough, she did. Her reply came in under an hour. "I'll be there. But no tricks. Bring what we agreed." Tricks? Oh, honey, the only trick here is you thinking you're still in charge. Tuesday arrived. I parked down the street from the motel in an old black rental Cam picked up for me. Tinted windows. Disposable phone. Hoodie pulled low. Heart beating like a war drum. At 6:52, Tyler arrived in his silver Dodge Charger. At 6:58, Madison pulled up, red lipstick on, tight black dress like she was headed to a nightclub. They both went inside, same room as always. Noah was already in place. Room 204, with live audio from the bug we planted the night before under the lamp in room 206. Cam had set up the feed so I could listen in live from my phone. What I heard made my skin crawl. "We're gonna be rich, babe," Tyler said, sounding cocky. "He's probably halfway to a mental hospital by now," Madison laughed. "You think he knows anything? He's too weak to do anything. Trust me." I clenched my jaw. "Weak? You're calling me weak?" I tapped the phone and gave Noah the signal. He was ready. 10 minutes later, there was a knock at their door. Madison opened it, expecting some investor. Instead, A man in a black hoodie handed her a thick envelope and said, "Sign this. It's done. You're the owner now." Exactly what she wanted to hear. She didn't even check the details. Just smiled and closed the door. Inside the envelope, a resignation letter. Her own forged signature on company fraud documents. A legal setup waiting to burn her. I'd let her sign it. Then I'd flip it all on her. But first, she needed to see herself for who she really was. That's when I made my move. I walked into the motel office, handed the clerk $100, and asked him to switch the lobby TV to a USB input. He shrugged and took the bill. The same flash drive from the party. But this time, a new version. Footage of Madison with Tyler. Planning. Plotting. Audio enhanced. Her face clear. Every laugh. Every betrayal. Now looping for the entire motel to see. Tyler and Madison didn't know it yet. But in 5 minutes, everyone in that lobby would be watching them bark, moan, and plan their little empire. And then something even worse, something I hadn't told anyone about yet, would hit the screen. The real twist. The one that made even me sick. And after that, well, that's when the police would arrive. Because I wasn't just ending my marriage. I was erasing her from every part of my life, with receipts. And it was only just beginning. The lobby was quiet. Just the buzz of the old motel vending machine and the low hum of fluorescent lights. The TV mounted on the wall was already playing the loop. The clerk didn't ask any questions. He just chuckled and shook his head, probably thinking it was just another couple caught in motel madness. But this wasn't ordinary scandal. This was a takedown. As the first scene played, Madison straddling Tyler, whispering filth about how she'd squeeze every penny out of me before leaving me in the dust. The guests in the lobby began to shift in their seats. One older couple turned to each other in horror. A younger guy pulled out his phone and started recording. The front desk clerk leaned forward, squinting at the screen. And then it happened. The twist. At the 2-minute mark of the footage, the camera angle changed. Not the shaky one Tyler had in his hand. Not the corner motel camera Cam hacked into, but a fixed, higher quality one, perfectly centered above the dresser. Madison and Tyler were in frame, but so was someone else. Ashley, not just filming this time. She walked into the room mid-act, wearing lingerie, laughing, clearly part of it. "Don't stop," she giggled. "I want to turn." The lobby gasped. The older woman dropped her drink. The guy recording? What the hell? Even the clerk stood up. Are those sisters? Yup, my wife, her sister, and her lover. In a 3-way conspiracy to screw me, financially, emotionally, legally, and now literally. The video kept going. At one point, Ashley looked right into the lens and said, "Once we've milked him dry, we're out of here. The company, the condo, even his ing car. All of it. Dumb little puppy doesn't even know he's already neutered." They laughed. They laughed like I was some joke. But here's the thing. They were the punchline now. And just as the final scene ended, Ashley high-fiving Madison while Tyler lit a joint and toasted to new beginnings. Red and blue lights lit up the windows. The cops arrived. 2 cruisers. Flashing. No sirens. They weren't there for the video. They were there for the documents I gave Jared, now handed over to authorities. Fraud. Conspiracy. Identity theft. And one final cherry on top. Tax evasion. Jared found the paper trail leading to accounts Madison opened in Panama under my name. She wasn't just cheating. She was burying me. But now, she was buried instead. I walked back to my rental car and watched as the officers knocked on room 206. I saw Madison's face when she opened the door. Shock. Then rage. Then pure, primal panic. Tyler stood behind her shirtless, trying to act tough. He failed miserably. Ashley, half-naked, tried to sneak out the back window. She fell, right into the arms of a female officer. I didn't even flinch. They were cuffed on the spot. Madison screamed something about privacy, about how this was entrapment. Tyler tried to plead ignorance. Ashley started crying, claiming she didn't know what was happening. But the video was already on 6 phones. Uploaded, clouded, saved. There was no escaping it now. As they were loaded into the back of the cruisers, my phone buzzed. A text from Jared. Clean. Frozen accounts. Company back in your name. I'll see you in court with the rest. I sat in the rental, hands shaking, not from fear, but from release. The revenge was done. The stage was empty. The actors arrested. But weirdly, I didn't feel happy. I felt empty, like something had died in me. Not because I still loved her. Hell no. That Madison was gone a long time ago. But because I realized just how deep betrayal can run. How someone can look you in the eyes every morning, kiss you goodbye, then drive straight to a motel to destroy your life 1 inch at a time. I turned on the engine, pulled away slowly. Didn't look back once. But I knew. This wasn't over yet. Because in the ashes of betrayal, a man either breaks or becomes something else entirely. And I wasn't broken. I was just getting started. 2 days passed after the arrests, and the world outside looked the same. But inside me, everything had changed. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't crying. I wasn't even numb. I was quiet. Still, like I had finally reached the eye of the storm. The media hadn't picked it up yet, thank God. But the video? Oh, it spread like wildfire. At least 5 different versions of it had surfaced on shady gossip forums and one anonymous Reddit thread titled Sisters of Sin, Motel Madness. I didn't leak it, but I wasn't exactly rushing to stop it either. I stayed in a hotel downtown under a fake name. The staff didn't ask questions, and I didn't offer any. I paid in cash, tipped heavy, and kept the curtains drawn. My phone buzzed constantly. Messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Bro, saw the video. Are you okay? Holy sh*t, man. I can't believe that was Madison. You deserve better. Call me if you need anything. Please tell me you sued the hell out of her. But the most unexpected message came from her mom, Joanne. I'm ashamed. I raised a monster. I'm sorry you were dragged into this. We all were blind. Yeah, blind. Or maybe they just didn't want to see. She was a golden child in their eyes. Successful, attractive, confident. Madison could have murdered someone in that house, and Richard would have probably blamed the victim. Speaking of Richard, the guy who slapped me across the face at the family party and called me a loser, he hadn't said a word since the arrest. No calls, no texts. But rumor was, he'd been hospitalized after fainting during Madison's arraignment hearing. Can't say I felt bad. But what really got to me was the silence from Madison herself. No apology. No explanation. Not even a rage text blaming me for ruining her life. Nothing. She went dark. Maybe her lawyer told her to shut up. Maybe she was finally realizing the depth of the hole she'd dug. Or maybe, just maybe, she didn't care anymore. And that's what haunted me. Not her betrayal. Not the humiliation. The fact that she never really loved me. That every touch, every kiss, every "I miss you" was a rehearsed performance for a role I didn't know I was auditioning for. A role called the fool. I spent most of my days pacing the hotel room, replaying every scene in my head. Not the video. No, that was burned into my memory like a scar. I meant the quiet moments. The dinners. The weekends on the couch. The way she used to say, "You're my person." What a joke. But then came court day. I sat across the courtroom from her. She was in a gray suit, hair tied back, no makeup. She looked ordinary, stripped of the glamour. No filters, no seduction, just a woman caught in her own trap. Tyler sat 2 rows behind her. Ashley didn't even show. Her attorney filed for separation from the case, claiming extreme emotional distress and seeking immunity through a deal. Madison didn't look at me once, but I looked at her, not with rage, not with vengeance, but with clarity. I saw her now for what she really was. Not a devil, not a monster, just an empty, broken shell of someone who could only feel alive by crushing someone else's world. And I let the silence speak louder than anything I could say. The judge approved the full business return. Fraud charges were proceeding. Her assets were frozen. Her passport revoked. She'd be lucky to see daylight without asking permission for the next 5 years. When court ended, I walked out first. I didn't glance back. Outside, the air felt different. Lighter. Like my lungs could finally breathe again after being underwater for too long. Ken was waiting by the car. "You good?" he asked, offering a coffee. I took it, sipped once, looked up at the sky. "I'm better," I said. "Not whole, but better." He nodded. "You know this isn't the end, right?" "Yeah," I smirked. "But it's the beginning of her end. And that's enough for today. Because some betrayals don't end with screaming. They end with silence. And silence can be deafening." 3 weeks had passed since the court hearing. Madison was out on bail, but she might as well have been locked in a box. Her accounts were frozen. Her passport was flagged. Her reputation was shattered. The video was still making quiet rounds on the internet like a virus with no cure. I'd moved back into my house. Alone. It didn't feel like home yet. more like a crime scene where the chalk outline of my marriage still lingered on the floor. But then, she came back. It was a Tuesday. I was coming back from the gym when I saw a black SUV parked in front of my driveway. The engine was still running, windows tinted. I knew it before I even stepped out of the car. Madison. She stood there, arms crossed, dressed in black like she was attending her own funeral. I half expected her to scream or sob or throw herself at my feet. Instead, she said, "Can we talk?" Her voice was calm. Too calm. That same manipulative tone she used when she wanted to borrow money from my account or spin a lie just sweet enough to taste like truth. I didn't answer. I walked past her, unlocked the door, and left it open. She followed. Inside, she looked around like it was the first time she'd ever been here. Like she didn't recognize the walls she used to decorate with lies. "You look good," she said quietly. "Don't," I muttered. "Don't start with compliments. Just say what you came to say." She sat on the edge of the couch, legs crossed, posture stiff. "I was stupid," she began, rehearsed as always. "I was lost. Tyler, he was a mistake. He made me feel seen. I felt like I had power again. I didn't mean for it to go this far." I laughed, loud and sharp. "You planned to rob me, and you filmed yourself doing it. Then your sister joined in like it was some disgusting family ritual. And you're sitting here telling me it was a mistake?" Her eyes watered. Crocodile tears. She was good at those. "You don't understand what it felt like being your wife. You were always so focused on the business, on stability. I wanted passion. I wanted risk. You made me feel invisible." I leaned against the wall, arms folded. "You felt invisible? I built this life with you. I gave you everything, loyalty, love, protection, and you gave me barked moans in a cheap motel and a plan to steal my legacy." Her lips trembled, but she wasn't crying for me. She was crying because she lost. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "No, you're not," I said coldly. "You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry I was smarter than you. You're sorry the video leaked. But you're not sorry for what you did." She stood up, her voice suddenly sharper. "I didn't come here to beg. I just wanted to explain." "No," I cut her off. "You came here to see if I'd go soft. You thought maybe I still had a little love left for you. That maybe I'd pull you out of this mess." She didn't deny it. "I don't," I said, stepping closer. "I don't love you. I don't hate you. You don't matter to me anymore. And I'm not going to save you." Her eyes darkened. Her fake tears stopped. "Fine," she said. "But don't think this is over. You humiliated me. You think people will remember you as the victim? They'll remember me as the one you destroyed." I smiled. Not smug. Not cruel. Just satisfied. "They'll remember you as a cautionary tale," I said. "The one who lost everything for a motel fantasy and a forged signature." She turned and left. No hug. No goodbye. Just silence. And it was perfect, because that was the last time I ever saw her. 3 nights after Madison came to my house, I woke up to the sound of sirens. It was 3:17 a.m. At first, I thought it was just another nightmare. One of those stress-fueled dreams where I'm choking in smoke while Madison laughs in the background, holding a match. But then I looked out the window and saw the glow. Orange. Flickering. Alive. My garage was on fire. I didn't even panic. I just stood there, barefoot on the cold floor, watching the flames crawl up the walls like angry insects. The firemen showed up fast. They stopped it before it spread to the house, but the garage, and everything in it, was gone. Burnt to ash. My tools, old journals, family photos, and a locked metal box that held the last real letters from my parents, all reduced to smoke. They called it accidental. Faulty wiring. I knew better. I didn't have proof. Not yet. But in my gut, I felt her. Madison. Or someone she sent. Desperation has a scent, and that night, it smelled like gasoline. The insurance guy came the next day, gave me the routine inspection, scribbled notes, clicked photos. I nodded along like I cared, but my mind was somewhere else. I was thinking about the letter I found in my mailbox that morning. No stamp. No return address. Just one word on the envelope. Regret. I opened it slowly, expecting another lame apology, another twisted attempt to manipulate me into backing off. Instead, it was from Ashley. I didn't know what we were doing until it was too late. "Madison said you'd never find out. She said we'd all be rich and you'd be taken care of." I was stupid. I didn't think it would go this far. I didn't know she planted evidence in your name, bank accounts, fake transactions. I didn't know she was trying to make it look like you were embezzling from your own company. I sat down. The air left my lungs. So it wasn't just betrayal. It was a setup. She wasn't just trying to rob me. She was trying to bury me legally, too. Ashley's letter continued. There's a file. In a storage unit. Madison kept it just in case you ever fought back. She called it her insurance policy. I'm giving you the code. I'm done with all of this. The paper trembled in my hands. She was going to frame me. If the court case hadn't gone the way it did, if I hadn't gotten Jared involved early, I would have been the one in handcuffs. I'd have lost the company, the house, my name. And I never even saw it coming. I drove straight to the storage unit that night. The code worked. Inside was a small black safe with a sticky note on top that read, "Break glass if desperate." Inside the safe, USB drives, printed statements, fake wire transfers with my name on them, a document signed with a forged version of my signature authorizing the transfer of company funds to a Panamanian shell account. She had it all lined up. A perfect frame job. I handed everything over to Jared. He didn't even blink. We're adding obstruction and attempted fraud to the charges. This just became federal. I didn't feel relief. Not yet. Because I knew Madison wasn't the kind of woman to accept defeat. She was spiteful, calculated. If she couldn't win, she'd make sure everyone lost. So I waited. Watched my surroundings. Started sleeping with one eye open. The court date was 2 weeks away. If this evidence held up, she was looking at real time. Prison, not just fines and restrictions. And she knew it, which meant she had nothing to lose. I stared at the smoldering remains of my garage from my window, the scent of burnt metal still lingering in the air. She was slipping, desperate. But a desperate enemy is the most dangerous kind. The fire wasn't the end. It was her way of saying, if I can't have peace, neither will you. But what she didn't know was, I don't want peace anymore. I want the war. And this time, I'm bringing the fire. The courthouse smelled like old wood and tension. You could feel the weight of every lie in the air, like smoke still lingering after a fire. I sat alone in the front row. Jared was beside me, calm as ever. Kim was somewhere in the back. I didn't need an army. I just needed truth, and the truth was a loaded gun in my pocket, ready to fire. Madison walked in through the side entrance, flanked by 2 attorneys who looked like they hadn't slept in days. She wore a navy blue pantsuit this time. Her hair was perfect, makeup soft, like she was trying to look innocent. But her eyes? Still venom. Still cold. She didn't look at me, but I looked at her. Not with hate. That emotion was dead now. I looked at her the way you look at a house that used to be yours. Right before the wrecking ball swings. The judge entered. Court was called to order. And then, everything we'd worked for unfolded like a trapdoor beneath her feet. Jared presented the USB drives. The printed statements. Ashley's letter, officially notarized now, read out loud in full detail. The courtroom was silent. Everyone listened like they were watching a thriller play out in real time. Because it wasn't just adultery. It wasn't just betrayal. It was fraud, identity theft, attempted corporate sabotage, arson suspicion still pending. And then, the final nail. A clip from the original Motel video, unedited. Madison's voice, clear as day. Even if he finds out, I've got enough to ruin him first. He'll look guilty. I'll be gone before the smoke clears. Jared paused the video right after that sentence. Then slowly, deliberately, he turned to the judge and said, Your Honor, the smoke came. But he stayed. And now, she's the only one choking on it. Madison's lawyer objected, tried to pivot to mental health issues. Claimed she was emotionally manipulated by Tyler. Claimed temporary insanity due to marital neglect. Claimed I was controlling, distant, cold. That's when I stood up. Can I speak, Your Honor? The judge allowed it. I walked slowly to the front. Every step felt like the closing chapter in a book I never asked to read. I turned toward Madison. I gave you everything, I said, voice steady. Not just money, not just a house. I gave you my trust, my loyalty, my time. You used that as a weapon. You didn't just cheat, you tried to erase me. You forged my name, tried to burn my reputation, frame me, and destroy everything I built. All while barking like a damn clown in a motel room with a man who couldn't spell the word respect if you spotted him the first 5 letters. A few gasps from the back. A smirk from Cam. Madison, still cold, still trying to hold the mask up. I turned back to the judge. I don't want revenge. I just want justice. And for once, I think it's finally in the room. I sat down. The judge leaned forward, flipping pages, reading over notes. then cleared his throat. And then, the verdict. In light of overwhelming evidence, I find Madison Avery guilty of the following charges: conspiracy to commit fraud, attempted corporate theft, and identity misrepresentation. Sentencing will proceed immediately. Defendant is to serve 3 years in state prison, with probation to follow, and all assets seized until full restitution is calculated and paid. Silence. Madison didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stared ahead like she still couldn't believe this was real, that she wasn't the puppet master anymore, that her strings had been cut. They cuffed her right there. No hugs. No goodbye. Tyler, he pled guilty weeks ago and took a deal. He's already rotting in county lockup. Ashley changed her name, moved states, and hasn't contacted me since the letter. I don't blame her. She might have helped start the fire, but at least she gave me the map out of the burning house. As for me, I sold the company 2 months later, moved cities, took a new name for a while, not legally, just emotionally. I started over, not because I had to, because I wanted to. Now, I sleep peacefully. I eat better. I don't look over my shoulder anymore, because the worst already happened, and I survived it. My advice: if someone shows you a mask, don't waste time hoping there's a better face underneath. Sometimes, the monster is exactly who they say they are, just waiting for the right moment to bite.